Ahoy there, viewers!
Welcome,
You are back with the Admiral.
the Commodore. And who's this?
PG! PG joins us. Peter Glover, great fan of ours. Hey, Cody, what are we reviewing today?
We are reviewing the Balvine Tun, which is another reason why we had PG along. We don't just love his company, but he is the man when tasting, talking, doing all things Balvine. And this is the Tun 1509, batch 5, guys.
Latest break in bottle. Now, what was the music we were playing before?
What was that?
A little bit of smooth, bluesy Dan Albeck. Guitarist from Black Keys, Trouble Weighs a Ton.
That's the link. You gotta look for these things. In fact, we're going to test you viewers out that stuff in the future.
Yeah, next time it's on you.
Now, as you can see, this bottle we may have already taken a little bit out of it because we couldn't wait. God damn, David Stewart. So he is the malt master and blender of the Balvenie. Absolute legend. I think it's safe to say that you're his biggest fan, PG.
Absolutely. My number one, my go-to, the Balvenie, the greatest.
So we're trying to work out what number break-even bottle this is, and we're not 100% sure. We think we must be sort of getting close to the number 40 mark.
Healthy.
But we're not too sure. So look, you're going to have to bear. We might go back in time, try to look at it all, but we'll get there with that. Now, we thought we should give you maybe a little bit of information about Balvenie. I mean, I've had both actually myself and Cody have had the good fortune of travelling to Balvenie, and I have to say that of all the distilleries I visited in Scotland, Balvenie was my favourite.
Absolutely.
And the reasons for that is they still do everything there. So they're under the William Grant umbrella, which is probably one of the largest selling whiskey companies in the world. They have Glenfiddich, Kinnimbie, the Balvenie, but they also do Hendrick's, Sailor Jerry's,
Alsa Bay, a few others as well. So Grant's single blended Scotch as well, which is you can only get that in a few places in Dufftown. So there you go. Willie Grant's as well. We might go into a little bit of back history of William Grant's. Actually born in Dufftown, which is one of the big whiskey centres of the world right now in Scotland.
Yep.
Started off his whiskey career at Morlock Distillery, and then bought a little bit of land just next to Balvenie Castle, which is where Balvine Distillery still sits.
So now they've got Glenfiddich, the Balvenie, and Kinnimbie. At Balvenie, they still have a cooperage. They still have a malting floor. They actually still malt some of their own barley, but they also drying it out too. And I actually didn't realise this till I went there, but every single one of the Balvenies does have a little bit of peat in it. Pretty amazing to go there. I've got some fantastic photos of the place, and if you ever have a chance to go, like I said, that was probably my favourite distillery visit because they do everything, and seeing the cooperage and seeing the way those guys work.
Still respect the traditions of the way that they used to do it and things like that as well, which is fantastic to see.
And then you're on the malting floor with these huge amounts of grain, and then going and seeing the furnaces, that they've got one for peat and the other one as well, and just the whole process that they still is so hands-on and able to control it all. I mean, other than that, I think the next one, my favourite one, was Edredor, which was the very last distillery I visited, and that's tiny. Doubling in size at the moment, and will still be the smallest distillery in Scotland, to give you an idea. It's pretty fantastic.
You lads have been there before. I haven't even been there.
You need to get a trip over there,
I'm
mate.
going to stop travelling everywhere else around the world.
Absolutely.
So now the Balvenie Distillery, they started actually building that in 1892 in Balvenie House, and in 1893 they produced their very first spirit coming off the still.
I believe on Christmas Day they had their very first batch ready.
How amazing! That's
What a present!
Bloody
What a
good, that is a
present!
bloody good Christmas. Now, I think part of the reason that Glenfiddich and the Balvenie have done so well is the master blender David Stewart, who's behind it. I mean, he is an absolute legend in the industry. He is the first. He's done a whole lot of firsts, which we'll take you through as well. But he started with the distillery in 1962. 62, and he on an apprenticeship. And 12 years later, he became the malt master for Glenfiddich and Balvenie. I mean, that's a pretty, and also Grant's, a pretty massive role that he's then held on to just about today. He gave up looking after Glenfiddich and Grant's in
2009, I believe.
2009, but he's maintained being the malt master at the Balvenie, and the reason being is his ability to blend stuff. It's just phenomenal. You know, the way he goes about making a ton and what's the process of doing that. Do you want to take us through some of the information on the ton?
Absolutely. So if we're not too sure what the ton is, just imagine a barrel, just a regular wooden stave barrel, but massively much bigger. We're talking probably, I don't even know how much bigger. It's 8,000 litres, I think.
8,000 litre.
So an 8,000 litre big barrel then contains a blending of different single malt whiskies. Now in this particular batch 5, I think we've got 29 different casks in this one. So we've got let me see if I can remember this. We've got 10 bourbon casks,
Correct.
we've got 8 sherry hogsheads, we've got 8 sherry refills,
Butts.
8 sherry butts, and then we've got 3
refill
American oaks. Now, Direct, we might even have a break
I
up
think
here.
we added all this up, and this is over 5,000 litres. They used to have a ton that was 4,000 litres, and when they, as Cody said, it's kind of a vatting. It's where all these single malts. There is no grain whiskey in this. All these single malts are poured into this massive barrel, and this is a chance for them to marry and to get to know each other intimately, I think. And they'll spend 6 months in there for that whiskey then to combine. And honestly, if you get a chance to try this, it seems like the angels. Obviously, we already have, and I'm supposed to be waiting and talking about it like as if it was the first time, but you know. I'm not very good at waiting.
It just sounds sexy, doesn't it?
Now, we've talked about how fantastic David Stewart is. He's actually been the inventor of a few different innovations in whiskey. Can you talk us through some of those ones?
Absolutely. So he was the very first person to start utilising different barrel maturation. So he'd start in something like a bourbon barrel and then move it over to a sherry wood. Now that's commonly known as finishing, and a lot of people are doing it, but he was the first. And like the 12-year-old Doublewood.
12-year-old Doublewood, which is just recently celebrating its 25th anniversary. So 25 years ago, in fact, that's where he actually finished it 25 years ago. So more than 25 years ago, he had this idea that, hey, we don't just need to finish in one barrel or keep the whiskey in one barrel. You can then put it in another barrel for a little bit longer, just a few months, even up to 6 to 9 months, and that will drastically change the characteristics of the whiskey.
And I think it was the first to actually start using sherry barrels. It was also the first to even use an ale barrel finish for one of the Grant's products.
Mm.
And then he also was the first to start Solera, which is, and he did that with the Glenfiddich 15-year-old.
In whiskey, yeah. So he took the Spanish rum style of Solera systems and took it into whiskey and used that for the 15-year-old Glenfiddich, which is still around and kicking and is a great whiskey.
So, David Stewart, I just want everyone to know this guy. So he is an MBE, which stands for...
Member of British Order.
British Embassy.
British Empire. It's it's actually
a very quiet one.
It's bestowed by the Queen.
Correct.
Even there, he's known as an absolute legend. He's actually a very humble guy, and I think this is why it makes him so loved. And we'd like to let David Stewart know that we absolutely think you're fantastic.
We love you, sir.
Totally love you. You're absolutely brilliant. So that's a little bit about him, and the whiskey. All those barrels are different sizes and things like this is. I don't know which. This is batch 5 of the 1509, the ton, but they've also done the 1401 as a ton as well.
Yeah.
I don't think is there another one before that, another series.
Could be. I'm not too sure, but that was a smaller ton. I think was it
Yeah.
a 4,000 or 5,000 litre compared to that
4,000 litre.
Yeah.
Now there was only 8,000 bottles of this produced, I believe. And you know, some people say, look, it's pretty expensive, and look, it's up there. It's about $350 to $400 a bottle you might find it for. And some people say that's expensive. Honestly, to be able to make something like this, I mean, obviously, when you go to get to a higher quality for those small increments, it does cost you a fair bit more. I think this is absolutely worth it.
Absolutely.
Now, you're an avid collector of Balvenie, PG.
Yes, absolutely. Love that.
We've got some of your little collections over here. Can you talk us through what some of these
I
are?
brought in a collection here. Some of them are actually quite rare. one thing I love most about Balvenie is if you go back in history, go back in time with this little number here, bottled in 1970s.
Reminiscent of a Glenfiddich bottle with the triangle.
Correct, William Grant's. So still black leather label. Tasting this, I've still got another 2 bottles of this, but this one's finished. You can really tell the history through drinking this to what they have now. They've been consistent. Although in its raw form back in the 70s, they've refined their product and developed something that's just out of this world, unbelievable. So that's what I love most about Balvenie is they're consistently special.
You can taste the lids. I remember tasting this and thinking, wow, this is really different to the Balvinies today.
Yeah.
But when you try something like that, which has aspects of this in it, you do see that lineage. And that's something which is quite fantastic. It's the whole journey.
And how old is this one?
This one's bottled in 1970s.
Wow.
1970s. The next bottling here, this one here, is actually bottled in the 1980s, which is the Founder's Reserve, 10-year-old.
Nice cognac bottle.
Yeah, nice cognac bottle. Beautiful. There's only a couple of these left around. I still have one more in this box. This has still got some more in, so we'll drink this after. But again, with Balvenie, consistently good. You can still taste the traces of history with their bottlings like this. So, fantastic.
Now what's this last bottle you have?
This is the Balvenie Classic. So again, another old bottling style. I think this was 80s as well, 80s,
Right.
90s. Yeah, again, sensational.
750ml bottle,
Yeah,
bottled at 43%.
Correct.
43. So do you think that these would probably be chill filtered back then? Or is that something that came in later?
I would imagine it probably came in later, but it's a great question. I'm really not too sure.
Now, while I was at Balvenie too, I got the great chance to go and fill up some of my own bottles. So you're able to do this straight from barrels over there. They had 3 options for it. So what did I do is I had to buy one of every one of them, didn't I? On the bottles, which you can get, they're only little. But this particular one was a 13-year-old first fill bourbon cask. Cask number 2022, which you've got to fill out their book for taxes and things like that. They don't try to keep it away.
No copper dogs.
No copper dogs. You get to put your name on it. Who filled it? Who filled it? The Admiral. And it's 61.7%, so it's cask strength. So I've got a sherry, a bourbon, and I think it was a second fill American oak as well. Again, a beautiful distillery. If you get the chance and the good fortune to be able to travel over there, I say that is one you have to go and visit.
Absolutely.
Now, I've done a whole lot of talking, but we really do need to do some tasting. So, should we get into it?
Let's do it. Should we do a little cheers to not only David Stewart, but the man that also provided us with this great whiskey, and that is Mr. Ross Blaney. We also love you, sir.
Thank you, Ross.
Yeah, and to PJ.
Cheers.
No, thank
Hey,
you.
pleasure having you in, mate. Cheers.
It's a lifting spirit. Now, what percentage is this?
What percentage do we think? I think it's up there, 52.6.
So you get a little bit out the nose, a little bit of a prickle. Well, someone said to me the other day, if you breathe really fast, you can tell this is fine, it's really smooth in it, but you breathe fast in through your nose, it doesn't actually tend to burn. But when you do it slowly, you do get that bit of a prickle, you pick up the bit of heat. But it's got a great nose.
You're getting the vanilla fudge, vanilla from obviously the bourbon.
Yeah. I still get a little bit of that a pear or sherry in it too. But you do get those vanillas and caramels, man.
It's rich, delicious. In the texture, it's quite viscous. It's got great mouthfeel. It is, man. I get really chocolatey, really quite dark berries with some of that sherry and things in there too. But overall, I think it's just really well integrated, really well balanced. Something that I think David Stewart does really well.
Yeah.
I mean, this is something you just go back to and you keep going back to it.
And just keep going back, and then all of a sudden the bowl is empty.
That happens.
Just open up another.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is just so good. And there's a huge range of them. We've actually looked at some of the tons and tried to pick up some of the old tons.
Yeah, I think
and they're starting to go for a pretty penny on the option sides.
Batch 2s. The difference between batch 5 and batch 4, some people might be asking, is batch 5, 29 barrels, vatted, batch 4 is only 23 barrels, so it's a lot. I find this is a lot more complex.
And if you guys do come in and have a dram of it, you should also get the guys to bring down the casing for you, because on the back shows the details and layouts of every cask that's in there. So all 29 casks are detailed on the back there. Another great thing Balvenie do is just the quality of their packaging. Really good. A lot of information in there too.
And the information, I think that's really important. These days people want to get that information. I think that makes a bit of a difference.
But it shares a story. That's what I love most.
Absolutely.
You've got a story to tell, so tell it.
Tell me, how do you, as one of these people, go and choose all these different barrels and be able to say, okay, these are going to work together? I mean, I think it's absolutely brilliant. Well, gents, we're going to slowly enjoy the rest of this. Ladies and gentlemen. But you don't need to watch us keep on enjoying this. You want to come enjoy it for yourself. So, for now, and from us, to you,
Yes.
to you, PG,
Thank you.
to you, Commodore,
And to you, Admiral.
Pleasure.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.